Hey again, everybody. It's me again. I hope you enjoyed your spring break. I know I did. But I was thinking this past week about how in our culture, there's like two of everything. When it comes to commerce and things of this nature, you always have two choices. Everything is binary. You can have Pepsi or you can have Coke. If you don't like Coke, you can have Pepsi. You can have like the superheroes. There's Marvel and then there's DC. Toothpaste, two choices, Crest or Colgate. Music, two kinds, country and Western. Miniature cars, Matchbox or Hot Wheels. Everything is like that. There are like two of everything, except the one thing I was brainstorming, like, is there anything where there's just one of? And it finally hit me. Jell-O. That's it. That's what you have. You have Jell-O. There is nothing else other than Jell-O. If you go, no one's going to go to the store and go, I'm going to get some Jell-O. No, don't get Jell-O. No, they're going to get Jell-O. That's all there is. There may be other little like knockoff, like generic versions of it, but those are going to taste exactly like this because Jell-O barely tastes like anything anyway. So it's kind of interesting that there's only one Jell-O. And part of that, I think, is because demand is probably way down. I think if everybody ate Jell-O all the time, there'd certainly be more. But it feels like today, you guys don't eat as much Jell-O as we used to when I was growing up. When I was growing up, Jell-O was like the king of desserts. We barely had dessert growing up. And when my mom would say, like, hey, guess what? We're having Jell-O tonight. We'd be like, Jell-O! We're having Jell-O! That meant we were having something magic. It was like a Mardi Gras had come into our house. And it was amazing. Sometimes she would even say, we would ask her, is there going to be Cool Whip? You going to put Cool Whip on it? I got some Cool Whip too. Cool Whip. Can you imagine a life with Jell-O and Cool Whip? That was just something that we didn't have. And so I was thinking, like, why, if I were to bring up Jell-O to you guys, you'd be like, Jell-O, I don't know. I don't know if that's what we want for dessert. What about this or whatever? And why are you guys so inured to Jell-O? And I think it's probably because you guys grew up in a different era. So either you get these amazing, scrumptious, sumptuous desserts, or your parents don't allow you to touch anything that has sugar in it altogether. Usually kids are at one of those two extremes. And quite frankly, both of you have it better than we did back in my day. So why are some people getting these delicious, scrumptious desserts? So again, I traced it back in my mind, and I think it's because of TV. I think it's this cooking network, this thing that they have this on the television where you can watch all of these people make these amazing things. These people aren't on there cracking open a can of SpaghettiOs. They're making these things. Now, of course, you don't have to make them. People watch other people make them, and that's entertainment to them. Mrs. Stallings, for example, will get up on Saturday morning. She will watch 8 hours of people make things. And for dinner that night, we'll have Vienna sausages and saltines. So it's like, it doesn't register. But some people, I think, will sit there and be like, that's amazing. I got to do that. You'll have this woman, the Prairie Woman, who I notice has a lot of electricity for somebody who lives on the prairie, but whatever. And she'll just talk about, like, if she were going to make Jell-O, she would never just dream of making Jell-O or even putting Cool Whip on it. It would be like, my boys, they love Jell-O. And so what I made for them was a Jell-O carbonara encrusted with beluga caviar and garnished with natural unicorn hair and rainbow magic. That's what she would have for her kids. And so I think that's probably the kind of thing that you guys are a little more, those of you who are allowed to touch sugar, you guys are probably a little more used to that kind of thing because your parents have the will to spend a few hours making a Jell-O dessert, and that's awesome. I think that's amazing. I wish I had grown up in that era, but I didn't. When I grew up, we had Jell-O, and that was it. And the big mystery was whether it was going to be green or red. And if it was green or red, and you got Cool Whip, that's really as much as you could hope for. That was like you had landed on the moon. And so you were pretty much done at that point until you actually consumed all of the Jell-O. Now, my dad would sometimes try to take it an extra mile. He would sometimes try to go the little extra, but he couldn't just add to it. He couldn't make extra. He would have to it would be like this, like, are we going to have Cool Whip on our Jell-O? My mom would be like, no, your dad didn't want Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Instead, he got fruit cocktail. My dad didn't like the Cool Whip. He liked fruit cocktail in the Jell-O, which was a problem for me because I hate fruit cocktail. I don't understand fruit cocktail. No one has ever proven to me forensically that it is in fact fruit, because fruit cocktail, and again, it's probably nothing you've ever had, but it's a can of like different fruits chopped up in some weird gravy. And if you look at the little pieces of fruit, no one piece of fruit looks like any fruit that you've ever seen before in your entire life. Even you pick something up and you're like, I think this is a grape. It's either a grape or a pituitary gland. It's more like a pituitary gland than it is what you know of as a grape. And so right away I was like, fruit cocktail, why does anyone want this? And then my dad was he was not a finesse kind of guy. The way he would make it, he would make the Jell-O, and before it dried, he would take the can, open it, and go and dump it in there, and then shove it in the refrigerator, and then 3 hours later you could have it. So you would get it, and it wasn't even like the fruit was mixed in with the Jell-O. It was like a layer of Jell-O, and then at the bottom, this weird melange of unidentified food matter. And that's what we had to grow up with. There was no beluga caviar. There was no unicorn hair, no magic rainbows. There was just Jell-O. That's all we had. This one's been open because I already ate it. I eat it straight out of the box, like pixie sticks. I enjoy that. And so this is what I'm suggesting to you is, since Jell-O can be something that gives you great highs or great lows, depending on the circumstances. If you find yourself feeling very sad over this quarantine, have some Jell-O. It'll pick you up. If you find yourself getting way too excited about not having to go to school, use my dad's recipe where you take Jell-O and dump in some fruit cocktail. It'll bring you way, way down, I guarantee it. So that's my recommendation to you. I hope that you guys have another great day. If you have any questions, feel free to contact with me. I hope you're learning a lot. And if not, let me know, because I can make sure that you do that. All right, thanks a lot. Enjoy your Jell-O, and be sure to stay negative.